Okay, today's video we're going to be talking about gimbal modes, try to explain each and every mode, and it's a bit complicated because the behavior is both different whether it's facing forward or back. And then there's also a wearable mode, so it can get quite confusing. I hope I can explain with this video what each mode represents, what its behavior is, what its startup is, so that you can understand it better and see if this camera fits your needs. Right? Okay, so let's just start off with the idea that the idea of gimbal recentering is the same as turning on. So whenever you turn on the device in a certain gimbal mode, it has the default orientation of the camera. It's the same as what the gimbal recenter is. We'll start off with the normal default state. Most people hand holding it and facing it forward. Let's just switch this to tilt lock. Tilt lock, when you start it off, it will go into the earth horizon, completely flat. Whatever the earth horizon is, lock that in, no matter if you tilt it up or down. So this is all about panning left and panning right. Oh, let me just say that you could adjust the leveling with the either DJI Mimo app, or you can just run the cursor like this to do fine adjustment. But every time you recenter, double click, earth horizon, right? Or every time you start it up, earth horizon. So uses for flat level filming, I would say walking or even cycling. If you happen to use the original setup that I did, which was this tripod connected to the GoPro, connect this into the chest mount, you can use this as a cycling camera. When you're cycling, you want it to be flat. You want it to be aligned with the earth horizon. When you're walking in a flat land, you also would want this level with earth horizon. Next, we'll go into the follow. Okay, follow mode. Follow mode is similar to the tilt lock, but the difference is it allows you to both go up, notice it going up, and going down, as well as left and right. So now you have more adjustability in your shot. The use of this would be cinematic pointing. So for example, if you're going to shoot up, down, like left and right, it's not as cinematic, not as easy to control. This 5D joystick is like an on and off button, right? So you can't control the speed going a little bit faster, a little bit slower. So by having this, you can go a little bit low, a little bit high. So you can adjust it at your speed. You want to go fast, you want to go slow. It's all under your control. So better cinematic pointing with this. So the use would be walking in a dynamic level change area. That would mean that it would go from flat to down to up. So for example, maybe it will go flat down the stairs, flat, it can go up the stairs, something like that. So when you're going up the stairs, you would tilt it up so it looks more natural. In addition, that could be another situation in which you're walking in flat, doing a walking tour, and then there's a building or there's a statue you want to point to. So then you want to point up, point down. Maybe there's a river down below you. You can point down and do more accurate shooting like that. It'll be more cinematic than using the joystick, because the joystick is jerky. Whenever you recenter, whenever you turn it on from the initial, it's always earth horizon. One thing I love that they did as an update for the Pocket 3 is that they allow you to on the fly. So if I shoot, I did this in another video in which you can actually change from tilt on the fly. So I'm recording, just imagine recording, you're walking, it's complete level, you don't have to pay attention to your hand that much, it'll smooth everything out. And then you're just like, oh, I realize there's something above me, I want to shoot, I don't want to use a joystick. On the fly, switch to follow me, and then you can lower or raise, and it's still recording while it's recording, and switch. So how was that an upgrade from the Pocket 2? The Pocket 2, you actually had to sequentially cycle through. So that means you had to bypass FPV mode, which sent the camera into a weird tilt, and then you had to get to the next one. So I love the fact that you can switch on the fly between tilt lock and follow, so you have full control. Because sometimes you could just use the follow mode and point up and point down, but then if you just want to be lazier or more precise in your horizontal leveling of the earth, then you want to switch it back into tilt as you're walking. I hope that makes sense. We'll switch it now to front facing FPV. Tilt lock is left and right, follow is left, right, up and down, and now we have full control of it. Now you can tilt it right or left, and that'll just give you more creative options. And for example, if you're trying to emulate a plane, you can go forward, tilt and bank into a turn, this kind of thing. Or while you're cycling, you can bank into a turn. So this will give you that option. It's kind of the equivalent of hand holding your smartphone, and just like you're able to control it completely. So why not just hand hold your smartphone? Yeah, you could. If you're taking a quick 10-second shot, you can just hand hold your iPhone and just take the shot. But the advantage of using a gimbal is that it smooths all the inputs. So as you're inputting into the banking or tilting or anything like that, it smooths that out. So it's more cinematic. So that is the advantage of having a gimbal camera. Okay, so then now we're gonna go into the backside, the 3 modes, and it behaves totally different, but it makes sense if you understand what DJI is trying to do. Tilt mode, backside, facing you like a selfie. Okay, already in tilt lock. So tilt lock, when you start it up or when you recenter it, it doesn't go, notice as I go up, it's pointing up. It's no longer Earth horizon. And you're probably thinking, what? That doesn't make sense. It's totally different, but it does make sense because most people, if you're gonna shoot yourself, you're most likely gonna face the camera screen. So if this was your head and you had the camera above you for that, flattering angle, then you want the camera to face down, to face where your head is gonna be. That makes sense, right? So it's all about the camera matching the screen in parallel. So once you understand that, you understand the orientation of the startup and gimbal recenter, which is the same, which is like a self vlog. You're able to pan left, you're able to pan right, but up and down, it'll lock in that space, that initial space. Of course, you can change it and recenter it to another plane, but it'll lock it in. The tilt is locked, but not the left or right is locked. Let's go into follow. All right, so follow is, let's see how follow behaves. Turning on, exactly the same. Camera matches the screen. Camera matches the screen in parallel. Same idea is that you're likely that you're pointing the camera screen towards your face. Therefore, the camera should match the screen in order to match where your head is going to be located. The difference would be now you have up and down motion. So for example, if you're going to take a lower shot or take a higher shot of your head, it will match lower or higher. So I think follow mode makes more sense if you're going to do a self vlog from behind you, because at least it's actively changing to match. So you still got the left and right. Alternatively, if you were to do the selfie mode, which does automatic active tracking of your face from the start, you can either be on tilt lock or follow mode. It actually doesn't even matter. But the advantage of follow mode is, imagine doing a self vlog and you want to also shoot your face and then turn and then shoot another part behind you. Like maybe it could be whatever point of interest you decide to talking about. It could be a building or whatever. And so you want it to point your face, but then you want to tilt it and then point at something else, point up or down or something else. Follow mode makes sense. It will most likely point towards you because you'll hold the camera towards yourself, but then you have that control without using the active track to film other things with you. So that depends like how you're going to shoot. If it's only your face, always use the active track. If it's going to be your face plus things behind you, then don't use the selfie mode, don't use the active track. And also, can I add as well, if you were, for example, running low on your battery for your camera and you didn't have any power bank or anything to refill it, and you're just like on the last few percentage of your camera, active track is definitely going to consume more power than it. So active track for your face, the selfie mode, is definitely cool to have, definitely useful, but that's something you may want to shut off and use a follow mode instead if you're just trying to save battery life. So that's just something to consider. So I think facing backwards, follow mode's the best. So we just discussed tilt lock, follow, both are parallel. FPV, and let's switch. Okay, and FPV is as you can imagine. Now we have left and right and up and down. Same concept. You want Dutch angle, just give you total control. Do something more creative, FPV mode. But just say that if you're in FPV mode and you're like, okay, I want to get a clear shot of myself quickly without switching into the other models, you can just quickly double click into yourself and actor track will straighten out. So locking your face and straighten out. So that's kind of a tip you can do if you want to go in actor track. Not sure if a lot of people use this FPV mode. Still think follow mode is the best for selfie for the back. The 3 modes facing forward, how it reacts, mostly earth leveling. Then we did 3 modes facing the screen parallel for selfie. So it's not earth level. So that's the difference between front and back for those 3 modes. And then now we're going to do wearable. So wearable is another setting within the menu, and that is for the expansion adapter, this thing over here. Wearable mode allows you to face the camera screen out towards your filming, but then it allows you to act like you're facing it forward. And that's a good thing. We get into, okay, settings. Here it is, wearable. And once you press into that, it'll go into the screen side. Now that means every time you shut it off, and every time you turn it back on, it's going into that wearable mode. So as you touch it, it asks you to swipe up to cancel out. It's always in this wearable mode. Not only that, it allows you to double click the screen for gimbal recenter, and that kind of helps. So you don't have to press this to gimbal recenter. First, you select the gimbal mode you want. So just say I want tilt lock. Put on tilt lock, then I go into the settings. Then I go into wearable mode, turn that on. Okay, now it's a wearable mode in tilt lock. So this is what's confusing about DJI's manual. They say like it auto goes into tilt lock, but actually you have all three modes in the wearable mode, and they all act kind of same and kind of different. Let me explain. Okay, so now we know that it's wearable mode. Whenever you turn it on, whenever you recenter, now it's acting like the front. Now it's acting like the front. So now, if you can recall from the beginning of the video, I talked about the front, earth horizon for the tilt lock. So you can go left and right, but no matter what, it'll lock the tilt, right? If you go into the follow mode, then it acts like the follow mode front facing, which you're able to do up, down, and left and right. So you got all the 4 directions. Now, this is what I found weird. In FPV, let me look at my notes. FPV functions like a backward default. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, the whole idea is that so it can function like the front of the camera, behave like the front. So it's earth horizon tilt lock, earth horizon follow mode. That means whenever you start it up or you hit gimbal recenter, it's earth horizon. But if you switch in FPV mode and then go into wearables, it actually functions like the rear camera. So that means every time you start it up, it matches the screen. Why it does that, I don't know. I hope that I explained it very clearly. Now, this whole video was inspired by one of my commenters. It took me like an hour to actually answer him because I was thinking really thinking about which mode would suit him, because he's a skier who wants to use a Pocket 3 for his filming. And actually, I think for the first thing I was thinking that, oh, this is the wrong camera because it's not an action camera. But maybe he wants a specific look because it is a tighter focal lens and he wants maybe better low light quality videos. So there's some advantage the Pocket 3 has, as long as you understand that there is limitations to it. You're willing to take the risk, then yeah, you could use it, because I still think this is a good cycling camera. So if you were doing skiing, which mode would you think would be the best? I think because he is a skier will need, first of all, hands-free because they're holding 2 poles. They also will be wearing gloves as well, so they need a glove convenient startup and stop as well. So I came up with the idea that you should be using a chest mount mounted in the center of his body, and then actually not, despite, you know, the wearable mode is made for this expansion adapter, not to use the expansion adapter, but to use it as the selfie mode. So if you had inside the back facing non-wearable, and then you decide to use the follow mode, for example, every time you would start it up, first of all, let me get this out. Swipe up, I'm out of wearable mode. Okay, every time you start it up, it would actually match the camera screen, like I said, right? So that means that whatever his body is, if he puts on his chest mount, he puts the expansion adapter on, if his body's tilted down for like the slope, it will automatically align, as you see, align down slope, so that the alignment of up and down as you're going down, as you notice, the follow me will function right. So actually the wearable will be the wrong thing to do, because the wearable, what it does is try to do a earth horizon, but since skiing you're going downhill, and that kind of level change of the downhill can kind of change, you just want this follow mode. So chest mount, expansion adapter with this, he should activate the turn on to record, because he'll be wearing gloves. Use the gloves, he'll be able to turn on, automatically start the recording, have it closed to automatically stop it. Very easy, nice clean setup. And then he should have the screen at 3 seconds shut off. No reason to run the screen, wasting energy on the follow mode, because it's facing out. It's not doing a selfie in that respect. And yeah, you should do 4K 60 frames per second, maybe even lock in the shutter. I almost feel like if it's a nice sunny day, lock in the shutter and up that shutter speed. You know, make sure you get the footage nice and crisp. So I think that would have been his setup for his skiing, the best setup. So I hope that this video explaining the different modes and how the modes behave facing forward, facing backwards, using the wearable. If you understand the behavior, then you can understand if it matches your use case and what you want to use it for, whether it's like walking, cycling, or different other sports, or just hand holding. So that's it. That's the whole video, and I hope it makes sense. Okay, thanks for watching, and oh, make sure you like or subscribe if you like this kind of content, or just feel like you want to thank me, because it doesn't cost you any money.